I heard you previously talking about Kim Dotcom's case, and you mentioned that the charges against him were pretty much phony. Elaborate more on what you meant by that.
Yes. First of all, he ran one of the largest file sharing services in the world, so the most movies and all were being exchanged by people through that site. It's not a site where you could connect to it and say search for Avatar. There was no searching. Somebody could upload a file and then pass out a URL on their own, and they're violating the law if it's copyright material like a movie, and the person who downloads it is violating a law too. But what Kim Dotcom ran is just a service that's like a post office. He was the post office it was being mailed through. Why do you shut down the post office thinking that's where the problem is? It's not. So that was a phony charge. They tried to charge him with copyright violation himself for uploading 60 songs or something, but they had come off of CDs he had purchased. So you see, it was all these attempts that I call phony. Then they had to figure out a way to extradite him. They needed a crime that would get him 5 years in prison to meet the law, the New Zealand law for extradition. So they made up phony charges of racketeering, like he's some big mobster connecting, a big financial empire in all these countries. I mean, Apple does that, but Kim Dotcom is just a nice, soft, little sweet guy when you meet him who tells the truth openly. You know when somebody's being truthful when you're with them personally, and he doesn't hide things. He doesn't share. He doesn't have concocted lines to tell. He's not a racketeer. They charge him with mail fraud because he said, I deleted some files, and what he had done was delete the links to them. It's like if you have a computer and you take a file and you throw it in the trash. The file is still on your hard disk. It didn't really get erased. The link is gone. You can't find it anymore by that link. So that's a phony charge. He really had gotten rid of the one part you could get rid of to make it look as though it was deleted. The phony charges just indicate that they're doing everything they can to make the public think the prosecutors, are in the right, but you don't do phony things when you're in the right. You have an open and shut case. No, they're having to go beyond the bounds of what's right to try to convict him.
What kind of precedent do you think this sets for just government overstepping?
I've read a lot about how they confiscated his data files, actually took them to the United States, and they didn't have the right to do that. The trouble is we developed what sort of rights you have to have against accusers, meaning the police and the prosecutors. They are the accusers. Presumption of innocence means the burden of proof is on the accuser. They have to prove things. You have the right to be notified what you're being charged of. You have a right to, a lot of different rights that make sure you're being treated fairly. And prosecutors and governments have found every way they can to get around those rights, and that's what bothers me, is that, if they want to convict you of something you didn't do, they have an awful lot of techniques to do it, a lot of ways to do it.